Hey guys, Jim here with another video for you. This is a special video. This is my memories from working in the movie theater 2003-2004. Before we begin, I'm going to issue a couple of warnings. Some of the language on this language will not be suitable, and I'm afraid certain people might be offended by what I have to say in this video. I mean no offense at all. I am just trying to be as honest as possible, and I'm just trying to give you my opinions and my recollections of my experiences in this theater. If this ends up becoming somewhat of a hit, I'll make more. But I just wanted to do this kind of as an experiment. So we're going to start off right away. There's no real rhyme or reason to this. I just brought up 4 movies from that year, or from those years, I should say, that I have very, very distinct memories of from working in the theater. Let me give you a little bit of backup about this theater. It was a 12-screen multi-cinema theater. First-run theater. We ran first-run movies, but this was not what I would call a good theater. This was in an urban area, not a very good neighborhood, and again, I mean this in no way, shape, or form in any kind of racist overtones. I was definitely the minority in this theater, okay? We catered mainly to African American and Hispanic American audiences, okay? I'd say maybe 20% of the people that went to this theater were white, the rest were those other races. Made it very interesting because for me, I grew up in the sticks, and the theater that I grew up or working in was basically 98% white people, okay? And again, I do not mean that in any way, shape, or form racist or derogatory, so please do not take it that way. I'm just trying to explain the differences between the 2 theater companies that I worked for at the time. So, when I started working at this theater in 2003, I started working there in the fall. And I'll never forget this. Return of the King came out, in the winter, in December, right around Christmas time, of course. This is a 3-hour movie. Everybody who's ever seen these movies knows this. This is a 3-hour movie. Someone in their divine wisdom, when this movie came out, decided to do a special screening the night before at midnight before it actually came out. And that was fine, okay? Because I was planning on staying and watching the damn thing anyway. The problem is the heating system on this theater was computerized, and I had no access to it whatsoever. And it automatically turned off at 11:30 p.m. every night and didn't turn back on until about 8 o'clock in the morning. When this movie started, the heat was already off, but it was still warm in the theater. By the halfway point, it was about 45 degrees Fahrenheit. By the end of the movie, you could literally see your breath, and people were tapping their feet on the ground trying to keep them warm, a la Sean Connery in The Untouchables. So let's just say my first experience watching this movie, which I absolutely love, wasn't very good. Not to mention the fact that I had to write out 180 passes for people to come back for a free movie the next time they wanted to come because of the amount of complaints from people basically getting frostbite while watching Frodo throw a ring into a volcano. Great movie, miserable experience. Then we're going to go to Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. This next story is true. I shit you not. I am not embellishing this in any way, shape, or form. This movie came out. It was a little sleeper hit. But again, the clientele for my theater at this time loved these types of movies. To give you an example, we had Soul Plane playing on 3 screens concurrently for almost a month. Soul Plane, okay? That movie's a piece of shit. This movie's great. But the opening weekend that we had this, at about, I think it was either the 8 o'clock or the 9 o'clock show. All hell broke loose. Some lady comes running out of the theater. They're going to kill each other. They're going to kill each other. And I don't know what the hell's going on. So me and the biggest usher I had, a guy by the name of Michael, went inside the theater. I had another person turn the house lights on. And there was maybe 40 people in the theater, okay? But in the middle of it, in the middle of an aisle, were two African-American gentlemen, probably in their mid-30s, going at it. I mean, full-fledged fists flying at each other. These guys are beating the hell out of each other, screaming at each other, and all the other people are just sitting there watching them. Me and Michael go into there to try to break it up. By this time, these two are on the ground, wrestling, screaming at each other, and here comes the foul language I'm talking about because I want to set the scene. Fuck you, Jerome, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you, motherfucker, as they're getting pulled off one another. We finally get them separated. I say, what the hell's going on here, guys? I hear, that motherfucker took my last burger. I said, excuse me? He took my last burger. I said, sir, we don't sell burgers here. No, the White Castles, you dumb motherfucker. I looked down. These guys actually smuggled a bag of White Castle sliders in to watch the movie and then got into a fight over the last one. You cannot make this shit up. Finally got these guys out in the lobby, told them I was calling the cops if they didn't get the hell out immediately. Jerome actually turned around and apologized. I will never forget a damn riot starting just about over a friggin' 59-cent slider from White Castle. And by the way, I hate White Castle sliders. They taste like shit. That brings me to Troy. Same thing. They decided to have a midnight screening the night before. But at least this movie came out in the summertime, so it was fine, okay? However, in the middle of this screening, somebody comes out and, I want to see the manager, I want to see the manager, and they come and find me, and yes, what can I do for you? You need to come with me right away. I said, what's the problem? You need to come with me right away. Okay? Follow this lady into the theater. Get about 3 rows in from the very back. She grabs my flashlight out of my hand, turns it on, points it in the middle of the screen, says, there's your motherfucking problem. There was a couple having sex while watching Troy. I actually had to go in and break it up mid-coitus and ask them to leave. Yeah, again, this was a real interesting theater to work in. Troy, of all things. But I saved this one for last. The Passion of the Christ. When this movie came out, as I said in the earlier video, it was basically self-released. It was an independent company that ended up releasing it because none of the major film studios wanted to touch it. They didn't think that it was going to make any money. They were also worried about any kind of controversy involved. Because of that, when this movie came out originally, it was almost a limited release. It only opened on about 600 screens. We were one of those screens. We were the only one within a 30-mile radius that was playing this movie the first 2 weeks. Church groups were bussed in to watch this movie. Every screening sold out. And you want to talk about memories of audience reactions. People were coming out of this theater, like I said, mainly church groups, okay, coming out, falling on their knees in the lobby, screaming hallelujahs, going into sermons. Some were speaking in tongues and convulsing on the floor like it was a church. I am not exaggerating, and this happened on more than one occasion. Also, what happened on more than one occasion is somebody would bring in their child with these church groups, even though this movie was rated R, and about halfway through, be bringing their traumatized children out who are freaking out about the violence happening to Jesus, and their parents, rather than trying to console them, were getting upset with them, saying that they should be in that movie theater and seeing what Jesus went through for them. This happened too many times to count. Here comes the part where I'm hoping not to offend anyone. As I said in earlier videos, I am not a religious man in any way, shape, or form. I don't have a problem with anybody's religion or their beliefs. Please do not take offense, okay? Just because I don't feel the way you do doesn't mean that I'm right and you're wrong, okay? I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form. This is an incredibly well-made movie. And it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It invokes the response that it's supposed to get. I get it. To me, this movie is damn near a snuff film. I find this movie more violent and harder to watch than any of the so-called torture porn films. I think that, again, I understand that Mel Gibson was trying to be as accurate as possible from the Gospels in trying to show what Jesus went through. I get it. It doesn't mean I want to watch it. Especially the barbs going into the flesh and tearing it off in slow motion detail. It's too much. Again, I understand how people feel about this film, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate the film for what it is. But this is one of these types of movies that I admire, but I will never watch again. As a matter of fact, the only reason why I own this DVD in the first place is because my wife never saw it theatrically. And she wanted to see it, so I bought it for her. But I told her how I felt about it. And I also told her that I wasn't going to watch it with her, that she could watch it all she wanted, but it was something that I had no desire ever to see again. And she still wanted me to buy it for her. But then, for some reason, once she found out that I was in Latin, she's never watched it. But that's neither here nor there. The main gist I'm trying to get at is that the audience reactions from this and my experiences having to do with this film in that theater are memories I'll never forget. And again, I'm not putting down this film, or I'm not putting down any of these films. This video is strictly about the experiences that I went through. So if you guys like this, please give me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe. Drop in the comments below how you feel about this. And if you want me to do another one of these, I will. Because believe me, I have lots and lots and lots of stories to tell. But I definitely wanted to get this one out because this movie is special. And I wanted to do a special video for it because of that. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you on the next one.